This is music journalist Justin Kantor. I recently had the opportunity to speak with Belinda Carlisle about the reissue of 4 of her classic albums, Heaven on Earth, Runaway Horses, Live Your Life Be Free, and Real. All 4 of these classic albums have been reissued in deluxe 2 CD plus DVD expanded editions by Edsel Records. What you're about to hear are some excerpts from my actual conversation with Belinda for these liner notes. You can, of course, read more quotes from the interview, as well as chats that I had with producer Rick Knowles, songwriters Ellen Shipley and Diane Warren, and executive producer Ralph Shuckett in the respective liner notes for each album. I also would like to note that each of these albums contains a stunning array of exclusive photographs from Belinda's collection, many bonus tracks, including both unreleased songs as well as rare mixes, and a DVD containing a new on-screen interview with Belinda about each album, plus all of the original promo music videos. I hope you enjoy, and be sure to check out and order Edsel Records expanded CD and DVD editions of Belinda Carlisle's classic albums, available at all fine online retailers and in some shops as well. Enjoy. So we'll start with Heaven on Earth, since that's the first of your albums that's being reissued. It's interesting because your first solo album, Belinda, which was produced by Michael Lloyd, had introduced you as a solo pop star on the rise with Mad About You and I Feel the Magic. However, it seems like Heaven on Earth really was more of an official introduction, if you will. It really took your career to a new level. How would you describe the difference between those two albums in terms of the material and the direction?
Well, with the Belinda album, I had literally, it was such a whirlwind because I had just left the Go-Go's and I left with Charlotte. So I think it was only a matter of months before we got started. So in retrospect, I think I was kind of flailing around a little bit. I'm not really sure of what kind of direction I needed to take. But as it happened, the material itself started, and in my experience, the material and the production sort of leads the way, and it becomes obvious what that direction is. So I think that there was more with that first album. It was a lot less confident, that's for sure, because I was scared. But I think with the second album, I knew with Rick Knowles that I felt like I was in really, really good hands, and I felt that I actually needed to make a break for my next album. So it's a more sophisticated approach. I was also working with the Knowles Shipley songwriting team on most of the album, and then and also Diane Warren is one of the contributors. So it became more of a concept. It was more of a concept rather than just throwing a bunch of songs together like the first album was.
Now, so to go into the next album, Runaway Horses, you mentioned in Lips Unsealed that you tried to go into the making of this album without thinking about the pressures, but you had quoted an A&R man saying that if you got it right, this would make you the biggest star in the world. So with that kind of statement being made, did that change how you approached the recording of the songs? Or
No, it didn't. All you do is you just do the best you can. I mean, I was smart enough to know that a lot of other things come into it, rather than if you put out an amazing album, and if there's personnel change at the record company, like the person who is your, behind you and who is your champion at the record company, if they get fired or leave, I mean, it changes everything. So all you can do is the best. And of course, I said, I'm not going to let it, pressure me, but the fact of the matter is, it does. And anybody would be lying in saying, no, they don't care. And no, it's, just because they've been through it before, the pressure doesn't get any less.
It's in the back of your mind to some degree.
Exactly.
Let's go into the next album, Live Your Life Be Free. This is one, again, in your book, you mentioned feeling a certain lack of focus when you went into making this album. But in spite of personal difficulties that you might have been going through, were there any songs on this album that you particularly identified with?
That was a difficult time for everybody in the making of that album because there wasn't a lot of the record company support from my American company, so it was, and it seemed like, I don't know, it was a lot of grasping at straws during that album. Although, like, You Came Out of Nowhere is a great little pop song.
I love
Live
that,
Your Life
yeah.
Be Free obviously is. You're Nothing Without Me, which is one of my favorites off that album. I love the lyrics to that. Really funny.
That's awesome.
So it does have its moments.
Did you feel pressure to like adapt to certain stylistic changes that were going on in the music industry?
Well, I just think probably yes, but also probably it was. I think deep down inside, I kind of knew that it was time to sort of shake it up a bit and make some changes. And I didn't have probably the confidence to say, okay, I need to do something different this time. It does need to change because I can't keep doing the same thing.
Right. So then after, some various record companies shuffling, at least stateside, you went into making the real album, which you've stated you felt like an artist as opposed to a puppet that you had felt like sometimes in the past. So what do you think gave you the wherewithal to take this new approach to your recording?
Well, I don't think I had much of a choice as far as I knew I had to make some drastic changes, and knew that I had to just really shake it up, and I knew that I always had the capability of writing. I'm just a lazy songwriter, basically. And and all my experience of producing, I knew I could do that too. And so I approached Charlotte and her brother Tom, who is a really amazing songwriter and artist, and working with Ellen's husband, Ralph Shuckett, and we put together the whole album of Real, and I was involved in every aspect of that. The songwriting, the sounds, the arrangements, everything. It was really, it got a lot of critical acclaim. It didn't do well commercially, but critically, it achieved everything I wanted it to achieve. Because although, I don't really care a lot about what people think. I mean, there is, I think everybody has that deep down inside. They kind of want to be accepted a little bit.
Right.
And I had been around for a long time at that point, and it was kind of satisfying to me to not be looked at as like a ice queen or just a pretty face or whatever. It's like, oh, she must have a brain,
Yeah.
So it was really satisfying to me.